pretty much 5 years to the day that the world kind of locked down because of COVID. And I don't think that 2020 Marissa would even think that she would be in Australia right now, honestly. Hi friends, welcome back to my Australia chapter. I thought I would do a little self-care and share video, and if you haven't seen my previous one, this is just where I practice an act of self-care and also speak freely to the camera. I really want this to be kind of like unedited as possible, just to kind of flex this muscle a little bit, because speaking to the camera is still not super natural for me. So I am in the Carlton Gardens today, and my act of self-care is taking myself on a morning walk. I do have a coffee in hand, if you hear that. I feel like sometimes you can hear the ice shuffling around. There are also a lot of birds out today, so typical Australia morning. It's so funny because when I first moved to Australia, that was one of the first things I noticed is how loud the birds are here. And I think I've gotten used to it, but I'm hyper aware of it now that I've said it. But I wanted to chat today about how it's pretty much 5 years to the day that the world kind of locked down because of COVID. And I think that's crazy. I can't believe it's been 5 years. I'm filming this on March 15th. And I think that, at least in my part of the world, in 2020, this is the day that everything changed. And I really wanted to start a conversation in the comments around, would your 2020 self on March 15th be proud of your current self, where you are now in March 2025? To kind of set the scene for me, my life was completely different. It could not be more different. And I don't think that 2020 Marissa would even think that she would be in Australia right now, honestly. But in 2020, I was living and working in Las Vegas. I worked in publicity for a few major resorts in Las Vegas. So it was a larger than life job, really, a completely different world. And I'm so grateful for all of the experiences that I had through that job. I was living in an apartment with one of my childhood friends. I was also in a very long-term relationship at the time. And I was so content with where I was. I was climbing the ladder at my job. I was really good at my job. I had really good friends in my coworkers, and some of them I still talk to this day, and think about very often. So that's kind of where I was in 2020. And then when COVID hit, I unfortunately did get furloughed from that job for a while, because it was the first time ever that Las Vegas, the casinos in Las Vegas, shut their doors, and they were down for 3 whole months. So I wasn't working, and I didn't get called back to work, and I didn't really know how to deal with that. Like I said, I feel like I had a larger than life job, and with that came the job was basically my entire identity, and I truly didn't know what to do with my time. I didn't really have any hobbies. I didn't have really any activities outside of work that I did. And it was a pretty big wake-up call for me in terms of how I view my job. I think that was one of the biggest things that that COVID changed my perspective of was how I view a career and how I view a job. And this is not to say that you can't find happiness in a job. I think you definitely can and you should. But I think that I just vowed to myself after that happened to never make my job my whole identity again. Because all of my friends, majority of my friends were from my job as well. So, and that's just natural, right? Like that happens. But anyway, I feel like I'm rambling, but I guess this is the point of this kind of video. I'm just gonna take a little bit of a break because my arm is hurting, I'm not gonna lie, from holding this camera up. Okay, I've switched arms. Yeah, so all that to say is I think that is the biggest thing that COVID shifted for me was my perspective of my career. And I never wanted to feel defined by a job again because that's how I felt when I lost that job. And it was a terrible feeling. So anyway, back to the question of would 2020, March 15th, 2020 Marissa be proud of March 15th, 2025 Marissa? And I think the answer is 100% yes. I feel like I think that she would think that I'm really brave, that I'm really confident in who I am, and I'm unemployed right now, which is crazy because I just feel like in US work culture especially, that we put so much importance on climbing a ladder or just, you know, a career in general. And that's something that I kind of just don't desire anymore. Sure, of course I want a job, like that's a given. It's pretty much impossible to live in today's society without one. But I don't want it to take over my life in the same way. And in my jobs since then, I truly didn't let that happen to me again. But yeah, okay, enough about jobs. I feel like that's not what I wanted to get across in this video so much. But yeah, I think that 2020 Marissa really would be proud of 2025 Marissa. I think I'm talking about the job thing so much because honestly, if the detours in my career wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't be here talking to you today in Australia. Because after I got laid off from that first job that I was already speaking about, I then went on to 2 other jobs that I also got laid off from. And that's when I decided to just take the leap of moving across the world on a work and holiday visa, because if it didn't work out, I could always come home. But yeah, I feel like I spoke a little bit about that in one of my previous videos. Yeah, I think looking back, the detours were definitely a good thing. And I wouldn't change anything, honestly. I would love for you to reflect on your past 5 years and would love to hear, if you are willing to share in the comments, if you have any perspectives that have changed for yourself since COVID and COVID lockdown. And yeah, how do you feel about it being 5 years since COVID? Or since the beginning of, COVID lockdown, because obviously COVID is still very much a thing. And I think that sometimes we forget about that, but it's still very much a thing. Whether it's in a journal entry or in the comments, I hope that this has sparked some inspiration to reflect and be grateful for the detours that you might have experienced over the past 5 years. I also want to take a moment to ask if you've achieved any goals of yours in the past 5 years. Maybe it was a pre-COVID goal, or maybe it was, just without. See, this is what I mean by like, this is just me speaking freely to the camera. Whether it was within, the COVID window, the COVID lockdown window, or even just recently, what is one goal that you've accomplished for yourself? For me, I remember in 2021, I was having a conversation with my manager, and we were talking about our dream jobs, like or not necessarily jobs, it was more of like, if we could do anything and not have to worry about where we get money from, what would we do? And I told her that I would be living out of a suitcase and traveling the world. And I wish that I remember what she said. I think she said that she would be a mom, like a stay-at-home mom. And I don't know if that's happened for her yet, but my dream of living out of a suitcase is happening right now. Although I do not have the luxury of not worrying about where my money comes from. I've literally just been going in a circle, so let me just go the other way. Yeah, I don't have the luxury of not worrying about where my money comes from, because your girl is still looking for a job, still unemployed, but it's okay. I'm doing some freelance work, and spending my time with YouTube. I know that it's been a minute since I posted, and by a minute, I didn't post at all last week. I'm working on like 3 videos right now, and it's kind of overwhelming me, but it's okay. It's a lesson learned. So definitely look forward to more content from me very soon. I also have a trip coming up in a few days, so definitely expect some content from that. And yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this little self-care and share. Sorry that I made it so job focused. That wasn't really my intention, but like I said, just wanted to speak freely, and that's what happened to come up. So please also let me know in the comments how you are taking care of you today, since this is a self-care and share video. Self-care is so important. And I'm going to continue my walk, but thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a great day wherever you are in the world. Bye.